Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Level Up session for the Mom Project Skills Week. For those of you who don't know who I am Katie Mack. I am on the community team here at the Mom Project, and you've probably been seeing my face pop up over and over again here on our various webinars, but we are super excited for this session today and Skills Week overall. So let us just start off by saying thank you to each and every one of you for making the time to show up today. We know how busy everyone is right now. So the fact that you are taking an hour to dedicate to yourself, to learn more, to see how you can level up professionally, it's super important. And we're just really excited that you guys were able to do this. Today, I guess Skills Week, before we get into it, over the past couple of months, we've been trying to come up with ways that you guys can all, either level up or stay busy or potentially explore a new path for yourself professionally. And Skills Week is something we're really excited about. I know over the past couple of months, we've covered topics including, making career pivots, re-entering the workforce, revamping your resume. But one thing we've heard a lot from you all is that, you're interested in potentially learning a new skill set and seeing if that can help you re-enter the workforce, pivot into a new field, or even just like move up a level in your current role. So this whole week, we've been offering content for you guys that is really dedicated to helping you explore upskilling and reskilling, getting a better understanding of what that means, and then also presenting you with some really incredible options for doing just that. So today's session, we're really excited to partner with our friends at General Assembly. And we're going to have an awesome panel today that'll include a career coach from General Assembly and two parents who actually took the leap, did the reskilling, upskilling program, and actually have moved on to new successful roles, all while being a parent. And yeah, we'll just explore the ins and outs of that today, just so you guys can all get a better understanding of what might be involved, if it is for you, and also connect you with some really awesome options for, getting new skills. As always, for all of you watching, we have our chat going on. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll address as many as we can in real time here today. And then, at the end, we'll try to do a little Q&A as well. But at any point, feel free to drop them in and we'll answer the questions. And then finally, if you guys have any feedback or anything on this session or any of the other sessions we're running, we're always listening. So please feel free to email us at community@themomproject.com. Awesome. So we're excited to kind of kick things off. I'm going to actually hand it to Caroline Schiff from General Assembly. She's a local marketing producer there, here based in Chicago. She's just going to tell you all a little bit about General Assembly and what they do. We're really excited to have them as one of our awesome partners.
Thank you so much, Katie, and a huge thank you to the Mom Project team. We are so excited to kick off our partnership with this event and to be able to highlight a few of our immersive graduates, and we'll share a bit more about what immersive means, as well as our career coach, Chelsea. So huge thanks to all of you for joining. We're really excited to be here and to partner with the Mom Project on this event. So my name's Caroline. I'm on the local marketing team at General Assembly Chicago. For those of you who may not know who we are a global tech education company, and we focus in a few different areas, including business, design, data, and technology. The grads we have with us today graduated from our immersive course, which is our full-time 12-week super rigorous course. So they are both champions and they're now employed and working in the industry, which is so exciting. We have Pyle who graduated from our data science immersive course, and Andrea, who graduated from our Android development course. We offer programming in a variety of formats. So in addition to our immersive courses, we also host part-time courses designed for folks that are maybe looking for something that's a little bit lower commitment and something to supplement either their career or whatever their situation is. And those are offered across digital marketing, product management, data analytics, and more. And then right now we're actually hosting a bunch of free webinars, as well as some of our top workshops on Fridays. So we are hosting what we're calling a Free Friday campaign. So you can definitely check those out on our website. And yeah, our goal overall is really just to help people pursue work that they love, which I think is really relevant to today's event. And hopefully you're able to walk away from here feeling inspired and motivated to take that next step in your career journey.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Caroline. And we dropped in our chat our partnership page that we have with General Assembly, just so you can all learn a bit more about what we're doing there. We've curated a few part-time courses that we're really excited about, and in partnership with GA, have kind of identified as skill sets that a lot of employers are looking for, both the partners we work with at the Mom Project employer partners, and also in the larger hiring ecosystem. So definitely worth checking out that page as well. Awesome. So I'm really, really excited to introduce our panel today. We have joining us Chelsea Noble, who is a career coach with GA based here in Chicago. We have Payal Chadha, who is a data science immersive grad from GA, from that program, and is currently a data engineer with Vertical Trail. And we have Andrea Kim, who is an Android development immersive program grad, and is currently an IT security analyst with GoGo. Really excited to have you all here. We're really amped to hear your various viewpoints and experiences. Reskilling and really jumping into things, and also, learning more about how reskilling is viewed in the landscape itself. So if you each, I guess, Chelsea, we could start with you if you want to do a quick intro about you and kind of where you're at.
Absolutely. So like Katie mentioned, I am the career coach at General Assembly, which means a lot of different things. But basically, I work with all of these immersive students that we've now mentioned a few times from day one, when they're starting this 12-week full-time program, all the way up until the point of them landing that first full-time paid position in a new field. That can be everything from talking about how to write a resume, highlighting these new skills, to LinkedIn's portfolios, to the emotional support aspect of this huge transition moment in one's life, and also, combating these really common things that pop up, like imposter syndrome, knowing how to talk about yourself in a new space. So those are just a few things that I do at GA, and I actually had the pleasure of working with Payal while she was in course. So yeah, really, really excited to have this discussion today. Thank you, Katie.
Awesome, thanks. If you want to jump to Payal, if you want to tell us a little bit about you.
Yep. So hi, everyone. This is Payal. I am a data engineer in Vertical Trail. It's a big data consulting firm. My current role requires me to build, deploy, and leverage big data infrastructure for advanced data analysis. So we moved to US 6 years back. And then we decided to expand our family, and then I have 2 little kids now. One is 5 years old and one is 2.5. And last year it occurred to me, I just decided now it's the right time to jump back into the workforce. So now it presented me with a challenge as technology evolves. So I was feeling a bit, dated. So I thought maybe, what could be the next step for this? So that's when it occurred. I should go for reskilling and upskilling. So that's how GA occurred for me. I did all my research, and I knew the coursework, the well-framed coursework, I would say, and the support that we get for our career, everything. Chelsea is amazing. I would like to add that, yes. But yes, so this is how the skills that added into my arsenal, I would say, helped me land this job. the support at every step that we had helped hugely in here. So yes, looking forward to the panel discussion now.
Awesome. Thank you. That's incredible story. And Andrea, we'll go to you. Oops, I think you're on mute. Oh no, I think we're having a little problem with the audio.
Andrea, it might be in your headphones, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. Sorry about that. My name is Andrea Kim, and I did the GA Immersive program in 2016, the Android development workshop or immersive. And I actually was doing pet care. I had a business, my own business for 11 years. So I was doing something completely different. And I'm a single mom. So I had to wait till my kids were quite a bit older to take that kind of opportunity for myself. So different perspective, definitely with older children. And yeah, I made it through and was able to get a job as an Android developer. Did that for 2 years. And then I kind of made another pivot and started studying cybersecurity. And now I'm doing that.
Incredible. Awesome. Well, thank you all again for being here today. And we're excited to dig in and hear even more about your experience and story. So we'll kick off the Q&A, but I guess let's just start from the top. What exactly is reskilling and upskilling for those who might not have a full understanding?
Absolutely. I'd love to take that and then hear specific instances of that from Pyle and Andrea. But essentially, it's this idea of taking stock of your professional toolkit, what is in it today, and then maybe where are these spaces or gaps for a growth opportunity. And we can all find those in different spaces, whether we're looking at job openings, whether we're, on the back end of getting a review at work, but just being very intentional about listening and learning about where the space to grow lives. And that could be, for someone like Pyle who has a background in data, but then wanted to learn the really like industry contemporary things, what are going on now, or Andrea who's switching completely. So it's just really taking stock of those items and deciding which direction we want to take those.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it is. It's definitely, we always tell people this, like, it's worth sitting down and kind of like thinking about like what you've done, where you're at, where you want to go, and like doing the research and really thinking about like what you might need to get there. So yeah, that's really powerful. I know it's hard to like find time to like sit down and do self-reflection or invest any time in yourself, especially right now, but it's so worth it. So yeah, I mean, Pyle, Andrea, I don't know if you guys have any specific thoughts, like what kind of spurred you or like inspired you to think about upskilling or reskilling specifically, but any thoughts you have there, feel free to share.
I can go. Well, I pretty much decided one day, just like Payal, I just decided, you know what, it's time. It's time to start paying attention to myself and start doing something for myself. Especially when you're a single parent, you tend to lose yourself in some way, and you ignore a lot of the things that you like or you want or you wanted to become when you were younger. Or before children, if you're still young. And at some point you start to feel like you want that back. You have to wait for the right opportunity, obviously, because your family comes first. But I just, my daughters were getting older, and one of them graduated college, and I said, okay, it's my turn. It's my turn to start learning something that I've always been interested in. And I chose Android development specifically because it was something that was very new and in demand. And I thought that it would be a good match for me. I had been interested in programming way back in college, but never got into it. And you know, there was a factor of confidence back then, of believing in myself, and or should I say, not believing in myself. And you know, when you're a single mom, you pretty much become Superwoman. And at that point, you're like, well, if I can do this, I can do anything. So, you know, like I'm going to do this, and I just kind of decided, did a little bit of research, and just kind of went for it.
Awesome. That's really cool that you were able to like come back to something you thought about pursuing like back in college and never did it. So that's really empowering.
For me, it happened like differently. I was already working as a software engineer back in India, and then when we moved here, because of the family thing and all that, so I took a break. But now last year, I already had my master's in computer science, so I had two options in front of me. Should I go for like a full-fledged 2 years degree for doing master science? I had decided in my mind that yes, I want to go for data science. Somehow I love data. Who doesn't now? So yes. So, but then it was kind of challenging thinking about the kids. And then my husband, he has a full-time job and he's working too as a consultant. So I just thought, yeah, and he was so encouraging. He would say, yeah, you can do it, just go for it. And then I thought, I researched about GA, and yes, I was pretty much confident with their coursework and everything. And I knew like I have to upskill myself because in the past 6 years, a lot was changed. And that's how I decided, go for GA, just put all the effort in. I knew it was going to be challenging. So I would say the expectations should be set right about like whatever you're choosing, you should be, doing a proper research before jumping into anything.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, yeah, do your research. That's really powerful. Awesome. So, jumping to the next question, to get a better understanding of the larger forces at play, and I guess this is kind of directed at Chelsea, but what skills are most in demand by employers right now? Kind of what gaps are there in the marketplace? So high demand, low supply among job seekers, or any other growth areas you see that the people listening should be aware of as they kind of decide if this is what they want to do and what area to focus on.
Absolutely. And I think it's going to be different regardless what field we're looking in, essentially. So doing research like we're chatting about is so important. Sorry, y'all, I have sirens going by. That'll be noisy for a minute. COVID times. Here we are. It's always exciting. Okay. I know everyone has kids at home too. One second.
It's usually my dog or my kid that's running in. I'm surprised I didn't have the first interruption. So it's.
I was gonna say, knock on wood, it'll all happen. It's a party over here, but I think absolutely doing your research. So where are you attracted to? What are those fields and maybe specific roles? And then doing kind of a pseudo job search and pulling out the keywords that we see over and over and over again. If we're seeing repetition across industries and openings, there's probably something to that. I think across all industries, something that Payal mentioned, the data. The data is a huge thing right now, whether you are going into a full-fledged data science role or you're a designer or a million different things, but being able to speak to data-informed decisions is one of the best things you could do right now. And then secondly, having some sort of working understanding of teams that would be working adjacent to you. So let's say I'm a software engineer, that might be having an understanding of what UX design means and what that process looks like, and vice versa. And then finally, I think a really exciting thing for caregivers and all of us living through these very different times are speaking to your virtual skills. We're all on this call today. But everything it took to get here, the organization, the planning, the setting intentional space in your home, setting space for work versus life, virtual skills like that are only going to increase in demand, and it's not always a given. And I think the more confident a manager can be that you can execute in a home space, the better. So those three things beyond researching your specific field, I'd say data and numbers, getting an understanding there, the teams that you'd be working across or adjacent to you, and then your virtual skills too.
That's really great. And I think breaking it down into those three things, I think the virtual skills is, like you just said, like, I mean, I think we're not in the early days, but like they're only going to become even more of a demand. And it is interesting, for people who, do a program with GA or someone else where it's all at home, you're kind of accountable to get it all done. Like that's a really interesting angle you could bring into the whole thing as you're kind of out there looking for something new. So awesome. Kyle or Andrea, do you guys see specific skill needs that the companies you work for that they're seeking out among candidates?
So my company is pretty data specific. So I would say whenever like you want to look for a job or anything in data field, the most important skill that is required right now is you should be very good with programming in either R or Python. That is the main skill that my company also looks for, whether they're looking for a software engineer or a data analyst or a data engineer. So I would say prepping yourself at least into a fundamental programming language is a must in my also. And then the pretty specific to the roles, the skills would vary. So for a data engineer, you would need some skills in like Hadoop, Kafka, and all those, and setting up the data science architecture, because data science cannot work alone. It's based on the data you get. So the data engineers are the persons who will prepare the data. So any skills that are related to data ingestion or skills, and then for data science, the skills that come into play would be the machine learning models and the statistical skills. So I would say do the research based on the job as well, what is required, and then the skills that are more important would be in front of you.
I agree. I think that it's just going to depend on what job specifically you're looking for. Like I said, I'm in the security department, and cybersecurity is kind of a different area altogether from what probably you're going to be going into initially when reskilling. That's kind of a different category altogether. I would say though, any kind of technological reskilling or upskilling in terms of getting into programming specifically, or cybersecurity, or anything involving computers and the systems attached, you really have to understand how the internet works, the TCP/IP, the whole environment and how everything works together, how everything communicates together, how HTTP works, and the basics of kind of the ground of the base of everything, and that will give you a good foundation to build upon. But again, you have to base it on what you're looking for specifically. And I'm not in the hiring area. I don't deal with that. So what specifically my company is looking for, I can't really tell you. But again, it's going to be depending on the specific role you're looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. So going to the next question, if I were to decide to reskill or upskill, what is the best way to highlight those new skills on my resume, within job applications, or during an interview once I have completed my training? So this one's probably geared a little bit more to Chelsea, but I mean, obviously anyone feel free to chime in.
The sirens have kicked back up. I apologize, y'all. My number, I mean, we could talk about this for hours, and we do in course. But I think the number one piece of advice around this would be, whatever the skill you're investing in, whether that's monetarily, time, both, put it near the top. Don't bury the lead. The most important information should always be coming first. So if that's on a resume, you have your name, your contact information, and then skills. And it's right there. It's right at the top. If I'm listing this out on a LinkedIn, I'm listing the certificates or things that I've been up to. I'm posting about what I've been learning. And then in an interview, it's about owning these new skills as a part of your narrative. You know, this is part of who you are now and what you're bringing to the table. So making a point to weave that into your story, whether I'm answering, you know, a behavioral question or just tell me about yourself, that should be woven in and highlighted in a specific way. And then always, and some of you might be familiar with this and others not, but my always piece of advice for interviews is this acronym called STAR, and it stands for situation, task, action, result. And it gives a story to your response. I, again, could talk about this for hours, but Google is a great thing. If you want to learn more about that acronym, I encourage you to. But creating actual STAR responses based on, you know, how did you identify what skills you wanted to learn? And then two, you know, how did you go about learning those? Because it shows a lot of initiative, a lot of, you know, that self-starter entrepreneurial spirit that a lot of folks are looking for right now.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think, you know, people are always like, oh, is now a good time? We're like, it's always a good time to learn more. Like, you know, like if you are curious and can talk about that, like in an interview, like, yeah, it could be a free course, whatever it is that you're, you know, kind of a lifelong learner and committed to self-development, like that goes a long way. So yeah, totally agree with that one. Awesome. Cool. So next question is there anything else I need to do to supplement my reskilling or upskilling training and coursework to ensure I can make a successful transition to a new role or industry? And this one, I think, Chelsea, you can take the lead, but I'm sure Pyle and Andrea, you probably have some insights to add there too.
Absolutely. And, you know, we're talking about this idea of growth mindset too. And I think that just comes into play in every aspect of life, but especially this growth and transitional moment. And one of the most frustrating things that I think people run into is this aspect of seeing a job opening, going, this is perfect for me. And then it says, you know, 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 or whatever the number of years of experience needed. And it's almost this gatekeeper effect of like, well, how do I get in if no one's gonna give me that experience? And it's allowing yourself to give that experience, give yourself permission to have the experience. And what I mean by that is taking on projects that are real life things. Ask friends, ask family, ask folks in your network, hey, can I help solve this blank problem for you with my new skill set? And showcasing that as real work experience. Getting paid for something doesn't make it more real than if you're not getting paid. So really taking on this project aspect of, okay, I'm owning my own experience here. And then I think the other piece, which is, I just can't emphasize it enough, network. Can you do this alone? Probably. And I think we're probably used to that, you know, as caregivers of, I can do this. I do this every day, but it's going to be a lot easier. It's going to be a lot quicker, and it's going to pay off a lot more if you allow yourself some vulnerability with the people around you to bring them in and say, hey, this is what I'm up to. Is there anyone you could introduce me to? Or, you know, this is just what I'm up to. You know, put that out into the universe to as many folks as possible. And I think, you know, we're often surprised with what comes back.
Yeah, that's all great advice, especially the networking thing. We always say that, like, as soon as you start talking about things to people other than yourself, or even saying it out loud, it makes it all of a sudden become a lot more real. So that's really great. Pyle, Andrea, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think that attending, well, you can't right now because of COVID, but going to meetups and things like that makes a big difference because you're meeting people, you're talking to people, you're expressing, you know, both your strengths and weaknesses with other people, you know, you're learning together, and those relationships that you build there can potentially help you to get a job. Also, the fact that you're always learning, not only at the meetups and things like that, and you can do virtual now, but just continuously learning just keep piling it on. You know, you basically never have to give up on learning. It's a constant thing that you do, has to be ingrained in you at that point. And you know, the more you learn, the more you can talk to the topics that you're studying, the better your chances are.
Yeah, I would completely agree with Andrea, because for me, I think I got the job because of this networking fact only. So GA organized that meet and hire, and I was like, when I was going into there, so the one thing that Chelsea always keeps on telling us, and she just said it now too, just talk about yourself. Just talk, just don't hesitate to tell anyone whatever work you have done. It gave a certain amount of confidence. I started doing that from the very second week of my GA course. I started talking to my husband, and then I started talking to my husband's friends, and all those I just didn't miss the opportunity of talking to somebody on the train as well while I was commuting. So it really helped me talking about what I was doing, about my projects. It gave me the confidence. And yeah, it certainly started appearing to be real. So yeah, it really helped me. One advice I would say, along with the reskilling and upskilling, is like, you always have to keep on learning. This particular, all the fields, they are evolving, right? So once you're done with your graduation as well, or once you're done with your course as well, your training as well, there are a lot of websites that offer you like practice questions. Like you can practice, like for me, so I used to practice on Kaggle. It's like, it gives you a lot of data sets, and then you can, keep on practicing, keep on adding skills till you get a job, and in job you also keep on adding skills. So I would say just concentrate on doing some more things other than what you have done in your training as well. So that's certainly going to give you confidence.
Yeah, awesome. Totally agree. So for those people out there who they're interested in making a career change or diving into a new field by reskilling, but might be nervous to like jumping in and making the commitment, do you have any other recommendations or actions that you think they should take in order to help them become 100% certain that this option they're thinking about pursuing is the right one for them?
I got something. Is that okay? I'm going to read it off the screen because I wrote something about it for a question like this. So what I wrote was, you need to know why you're seeking a change, examine your motivations, and weigh the effort and family support needed versus the benefits of your new career. What will you have to give up for the duration of your transition? Why do you want to reskill? Is it out of necessity or boredom with the job that you have? Will it benefit you financially? What would the new career provide that your current career cannot? Are you willing to work hard? Have you ever had to make a big change in your life? And why or how did you handle it? How will it make you feel to achieve this goal? You can never be 100% certain unless you could predict the future, but we can't do that. But sometimes if you think things out enough, you might just have enough to jump in and have faith in yourself. That's it.
That is awesome. And yes, I mean, all very big questions, but all very important questions. And yeah, nobody really can answer those but yourself. But there's a lot of different lenses. You kind of have to look at a decision like this, through, especially if you're doing a bigger kind of full pivot with an immersive training course or that sort of thing.
Yeah, I would also just add too, and I know we mentioned this previously of, talking to folks, but greet people on LinkedIn, see if they have a similar career trajectory or they made a similar pivot. Reach out to them, folks. You'd be surprised how willing folks are to help. And if they don't respond, don't take it personally. But talking to folks who have been there before, and then like Andrea is saying, it's ultimately up to you. So we can ask all the questions we want, talk to other folks, ask, what should I do? What should I do? But at the end of the day, it's trusting your intuition and gut to know this is what I want to move forward with, and move forward with confidence, so that it's, I think the worst thing that we could do is enter into a big decision not full-heartedly. We want both feet when we move forward with something like that. And Kyle, I don't know if you have anything to add in terms of advice around the topic, because you've done.
Yeah, just one thing, like Andrea pretty much said it all, and you also like summarized in a very good way. What I wanted to add was before taking this decision, I mentioned this before as well, doing some research and testing yourself as well. You did research, okay, these are the skills that are needed. Okay, I want to do this, but am I ready right now for this training, or should I just, first do a little bit of prep courses to see where I stand, and then, make my decision based on what I have learned in that process. Maybe doing some coding practice questions and seeing, oh yeah, I have it in me. It's not like just for the sake of I'm doing something. It is something that I want. And then, taking your decision based on the facts, I would say it gives you confidence that yes, I'm doing the right thing. So
one more thing, I agree with Payal. I think that if you do some free courses online, like Code Academy or GA's course that they have on online, is the free version of that. Do as much as you can for free first to see if you even like it. To see if your motivation is just like, I want this new career because it makes so much money, I hear. Well, if you're not good at it, you're not gonna get a job. So whether the job pays well or not, you're not gonna get one. So try it out first. Try to do as much as you can on your own first. And also try out your ability to motivate yourself to time schedules. So set aside an hour a day and make sure you do an hour a day for a week. If you got through that, try 2 hours a day, because if you do an immersive, you're going to be doing a full day in person. Plus, you're going to need 3-4 hours at night as well. So you have to be able to set aside that time and to communicate with your family to leave you alone so that you can do that. So you have to prepare a backup, someone to handle the chores. You have to, I literally made out a schedule. Everybody has to do, you have to do this and you have to do this, and just pretend I'm not here. Okay, if the house is on fire, yeah, you can come get me. Besides that, no, you're walking the dog and you are cooking the food, and that is it. There's no question about it. So you have to get all that stuff set up first, and you have to be able to set aside that time and practice it. Do 2 hours a night for as long as you think you're comfortable with it. Maybe go to 3 hours a night. See what you can actually do, because you don't want to get into a big commitment like this if you're not going to physically be able to do it, or emotionally. So, that's just my suggestion.
Yeah, no, that's a really good insight. To, test it out, make sure you have the infrastructure in place in the support system you need to make sure, you can actually go after it uninterrupted. So yes, very good insight. Thank you for that. Okay, so another question is, it looks like a lot of the in-demand skills in the marketplace right now are tech focused. I have no prior tech experience. As someone who is mid-career, do I stand a chance in securing a role in tech post-training when there might be recent grads who possess the same skills, or maybe someone younger? Any insights there would be great.
I feel like I'm talking too much, but that's exactly what I did. I was 43 when I started in GA. I had no tech experience. Yes, I had a degree, but it was in biology and it was a long time ago. I had a career in a little bit of finance type stuff before I did my small business with pet care, because I was unfulfilled with the other job. I got laid off. I'm like, I don't want to do it anyway. I hate this. So I did my pet care business, and that allowed me to be a parent because I had my own schedule and things like that. So I was able to do that. But at the same time, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm not using my brain anymore. You know how they say, if you don't use it, you'll lose it? Well, that's kind of what I was starting to feel. Like, I don't know how to talk to people anymore. I'm talking to dogs and cats all day, and kids. I don't know how to talk to adult human beings, and I am not using my brain in the same way that I used to. So I really need this change really badly. So the motivation and the sincerity with which you pursue this, and having done the research and testing it out with yourself and making sure that you're capable emotionally, intellectually, physically capable of taking this on will make you feel confident enough to be able to portray that in interviews. So, if you could do all of that and be able to succeed and get to the point where you've completed the program and you're interviewing, the fact that you even got an interview is huge. And then you have all these skills from your prior life, so to speak. If you're mid-career, you're not fresh out of college. That's not necessarily a good thing, because you have all these other skills from your previous careers. You know how to talk to people, you know how to hold meetings, you know how to communicate professionally, dress professionally, act professionally. So there's a lot of skills there that you just have to kind of pinpoint and realize that you've achieved already. And those things you can bring to the table. And also the fact that you're still learning and that you're still wanting to change and evolve is good. And people respect that. And in fact, my first job, the interviewer who ended up being my boss, told me, one thing I liked about you was if you didn't know the answer, you said, you know what, I don't know, but I know how to find out. I know where to look. I know how to research this. And things like that mean a lot. So, it's actually, in my opinion, a good thing that you are a career changer versus just coming out of college looking for the same kind of skills. Because even though you think everyone's just looking for someone fresh out of, college, they actually don't have any of the professional skills that you have. All they have is a degree. So think of it that way.
Completely agree with that. 100%. And I think it's just reminding ourselves to have this abundance mindset towards ourselves versus a scarcity mindset, because this is what imposter syndrome is. And everyone has it, regardless of what the background is that we're coming from. We tend to look at a job posting and we zoom in on the 2 bullet points that we're not hitting versus the 18 that we are. So it's, anchoring yourself back in those things and going, okay, I am actually more than enough and I can learn the rest because I've learned a million things in my life and I'm eager to grow. So really just reminding yourself, and maybe it's having a mantra and coming to that space intentionally, but knowing that I am enough, I'm more than enough. And I'm bringing, just like Andrea is saying, about all of the things that you have that perhaps a recent grad does not, and focusing on that versus the 1 or 2 things that maybe they've got going for them.
That's perfect. I would say focusing on your positives more rather than, and working on your, I wouldn't say negatives, but the things that you're lacking right now. And one more thing, it's not always, you need to be very sound technically in all these jobs. There is a misconception sometimes. Because data science is a combination of storytelling, communication, plus tech. So tech is a part of what constitutes a data science career. But if you are not a good storyteller, if you don't have the good communication skills, how would you tell everybody? How would you provide the insights? You will have different clients. One would be, I would say, semi-technical or technical, or what you can have a client or a stakeholder who's not even, who's not technically that sound. So you should be a good storyteller. The insights that you got, how are you going to, present them according to the stakeholders? So there are a lot of skills other than tech skills that are also required in these jobs. So I would completely agree to Andrea as well. You have learned a lot. I don't say that I'm not. I haven't worked for the past 6 years. I always say I was a full-time mom. And the things that I learned from my children, I would say project management, I would say negotiation. I can't tell you how good of negotiators the kids are. So yes, I have learned a lot of skills like that as well. So I would say I was upskilling on these as well.
So true. And we always say that, it's own your soft skills, because you can't you can't take a course. Well, I guess you can, but like really you need time and actual experience, like in working with other people and how to build a meaningful relationship with a colleague, or yeah, your soft skills are just really, that's what comes with time and experience, and that's something you got to own in addition to, you know, the more technical training or skills you might have. So yes, agree 100% with all of that. Cool. All right, so next question on this list. I'm currently employed and don't necessarily want to leave my current employer, but I'm ready for a new challenge. How can I make the case for my current employer to potentially cover or subsidize tuition if I want to reskill or upskill? And then kind of as like an add-on to that, for those who maybe don't have an employer who you know, could subsidize it, like, do you have any tips or tricks for like trying to justify the cost of tuition if they're thinking about entering into a paid program?
Yeah, I think so. There's two different parts to that. I think if you're hoping to stay at your current company, but upskill, have them invest in your skills, I think, you know, there's a real fear around asking for things right now in COVID times, right? I think that's a real fear, and I want to validate that, because those of us with positions are like, oh my God, thank goodness, and you know, what if? So that fear can be real. I think one way to state the case, and you know, hopefully you're working for a manager that understands the importance of investing in their people and what that actually means, but make it very clear for them. Come ready with a case of, this is the exact value add. If you were to invest in this, this is the value that I'd bring back to the company. I see, you know, A, B, and C pain points, and I would love to solve those with these skills, and just being very, very clear about your ask and then what the value add is. And then I think, you know, we've spoken to it a little bit in terms of how do we make this decision if it's a personal investment? Research, talk to as many people as possible, you know, asking yourself all of these questions of, is this the right time, the right move? And then doing as much free work as possible and understanding, okay, what are the gaps still there, and how would a paid program fill those in? Because there's a lot of free options out there, but I think when you start talking about paid programs, it's the structure and the guidance that people really invest in, of someone saying, okay, this is, you could put your attention, cast a wide net, but I want you to focus on this right now, because that's most important. So understanding how important that aspect is to you, to have a really like a guide for those skill building things.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so I know you guys, Pyle and Andrea, talked about this a little bit, but would love to just go a little deeper and hear a little bit more about your experience balancing a training course load while also being a parent, and how to manage all of the responsibilities that would obviously fall, you know, upon someone. But so yeah, would love to share any additional thoughts, insights, expertise you guys might have to share.
Well, like I said, I kind of hinted on it already. I literally made out a chart for everybody, including my dad, because we live in the same building. So I'm like, okay, when it's time for this, you go downstairs to grandpa and you do this, and you are cooking tonight, and this is what you know, I had to schedule out everything. And that's probably the only way I could have kept sane, really, because otherwise they were constantly bothering me. You know, if I would sit at my desk trying to work, there's always something that they wanted, something that they needed, a question that they had. You know, I put up a sign like, don't bother me. I'm working right now. So I even painted a room that I was using for storage, painted it, set it all up as my office. And you know, that was my first home office. So it's really, really difficult. And the younger your kids are, the more difficult it is. My kids were at an age where they could kind of, they can cook already. We did sometimes have days where I was too busy with my business, or with, they're like, what are you having for dinner tonight? Oh, it's fend for yourself day, basically, is what I would say. Fend for yourself day, where you'd have to just figure out what you're going to eat and then look in the refrigerator, there's food, so, for 8 weeks, it became fend for yourself weeks. Unless they felt like cooking, it's like, I can't do any of it right now. You'll have to figure it out. These are the chores I expect you to do. I expect you to do, certain things and behave a certain way. And that's the only way we could do it. And I had to make sure that they could understand the importance of it. My kids were old enough to understand why it was very, very important, why it was important for our family, why it was important for me, to be able to achieve this. That's not necessarily the case for younger kids. So, I didn't have as much support because I was a single mom, but I did have my dad. Grandpa was around. So, it was just the right time for me. So yeah, that's pretty much how I handled it. I did get sick at one point and missed a couple days, which was not allowed. You can't miss days on an immersive course. But GA was able to help me out, gave me some extra instruction and tutoring, and got me on a plan to get to where I needed to be to still catch up with everybody and be able to graduate. So that's something that you have to be aware of too. Like, you can't miss any time. So yeah, I hope that answered the question.
Definitely.
So for me, it was a completely different situation from Andrea. Yes, I have 2 kids. I already told you guys, one is 5 and one is 2.5. So last year he was 2. So it's like, when I thought of, starting my career now, reskilling and everything, I did all my research. Now the question was how to make it happen. I have, yes, I know what I have to start. I enrolled myself in GA. But then I had this little time to decide. So what I did was I made a schedule. I talked to my husband. One tip that I would give to all the parents who have kids like of this age, or more smaller kids, I would say, don't hesitate to ask for help. Sometimes it's the hesitation in us, like, oh, should I ask that person? So you should just think about, it's temporarily. It's just 3 months. That is, you have to give all of that you have for this course, this training you're going to do. Until and unless you're not going to give your 100%, it's not worth it. So you have to, there will be trade-offs. Like, you cannot just, expect you cannot expect yourself to be the hero always. There will be trade-offs. You have to do something. Some things are going to take a back seat. But it's okay. Like, you have to constantly tell yourself, it's okay. It's okay. So my husband, he was a great support for me always. And when he studied, I was the one who were taking more of the responsibilities. And then I had to start studying. I had to, start thinking about my career. He was the first one who, who took all the work that he can do. And then we made up a schedule. I put my son in daycare before I have to start GA, so that he gets accustomed to that. And, the emotions that come with that first time going to a daycare and, leaving my kids. I've never done that like before joining GA, and then going out full day, 9 to 5. Then where are my kids? Oh, have they eaten something or not? And then all those feelings. So I just lived that particular time before GA. I just wanted to get the feel of it. Will I be able to do that? Will I be emotionally that strong? So this is all gave me confidence. It helped me with my course as well. There were days, I would say, my kids, they were not well, like they were sick. And then I was okay, but then I had a lot of work. So I think when you have made up your mind for something, when you know you have to do it, somehow you get the strength for that too. So it's just that don't give up. Talk to someone. You don't want to work for that particular hour, just stop working, just relax. And then, re-energize yourself and work for that particular goal. What helped was setting up goals. Like, don't just overburden yourself. Set little goals. I'm going to achieve this thing today. This is what I'm going to do for today. in terms of everybody, in terms of your, like, you're managing your husband, you're managing your family and everything. So you should have goals for everything. That really, this thing really helped me.
Yeah, that's really powerful. And I think especially right now, you know, anybody who's working full-time and home with kids, or working part-time and home with kids, or just home with kids all the time right now, like, it's really stretching everybody to kind of the limits, and we're seeing what we are actually capable of, you know, at any given day, managing everybody's schedule and their education and your workload and everything. So I do feel like we're all learning a lot about our strength and resilience and ability to manage a lot at the same time right now. So, you know, as we kind of come out of this phase of things, I think we'll all have a better sense of like, oh yeah, you know what, I can thrive in that sort of environment, or maybe not. So yeah, that's all really interesting and powerful. We only have a couple minutes left here. So I guess just to wrap it up, you know, for someone who is just like, maybe today is their first day thinking about maybe reskilling or upskilling, like, what is the one thing you would recommend they do, or one or two things, like, today to like start on the right path of like, you know, assessing if it's for them?
One thing that a grad, actually, he's a father and he's the primary caregiver, just shared with me the other day, is this idea of no 0 days, meaning every day I'm doing one little thing. And I love that, because I think it's not this big overarching thing. Okay, I'm going to become a user experience designer, I'm going to become a data scientist. No, it's just, I'm going to explore a little bit today. And just having this idea of no 0 days. And then what Katie's mentioning too about learning our limits, or relearning them from this moment. I can't recommend enough of, as you're able, write down some thoughts and keep a COVID journal, because tough times will come again and we will feel overwhelmed. But if you're able to look back at this time and go, oh my God, look at what I achieved and what I've survived. You know, the resilience is just unbelievable when you're able to reflect on that and know how much you can take on. And you know, that's a beautiful thing. So keep a journal and have this idea of no 0 days. Just learn a little bit every day.
Love that. Awesome. Well, Chelsea, Pyle, Andrea, thank you so much for joining and sharing your experience and your wisdom, dropping wisdom bombs all over the place. I love it. I think, you know, we all learned a lot out of this, and hopefully, you know, people tuning in can kind of take some steps today, tomorrow, maybe next week, the week after, to decide, you know, what path is the best one for them. Just to reiterate, you know, we're really excited about our partnership with General Assembly. We'll drop the partnership page link again into the chat for those of you who are interested. On the partnership page, we've got part-time courses curated there, but as you know, Pyle and Andrea and Chelsea talked about, their amazing immersive programs, those are also available there as well. And for those who just want to learn and kind of take advantage of these free resources, as Caroline had talked about in the very beginning, they have free Friday sessions every Friday, running pretty much for the next few weeks, I think pretty indefinitely for a while, that can give you a snapshot into different courses they offer, just kind of little key things about like networking skills that you can take and use today. So check out the General Assembly website for the free Fridays content as well. Thank you all again. Thanks everybody for tuning in. More from us in Skills Week tomorrow and Friday. But yeah, have a wonderful day, everybody, and thanks again. Bye.